Hi everyone, welcome to Ava Revenge Whispers. The phone vibrated against my desk for the third time in 6 minutes.
Mom, again.
I let it buzz, watching it dance across my paperwork like a demented firefly while my stomach twisted into familiar knots. When it finally stopped, I counted to 10 before checking the voicemail. Sophia. Darling, why aren't you picking up? It's urgent. Call me back immediately. I'm Sophia. And at 36, I've become my family's personal bank. Not by choice, mind you, but through years of guilt, tripping, manipulation, and the crushing weight of obligation that comes with being the successful daughter. The phone buzzed again. Before this story spirals even further, make sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications for more. And when the story ends, don't forget to show your support through likes and comments. This time I answered. Finally, Mom's voice crackled through the speaker. I've been trying to reach you all morning. I was in a meeting. Mom, what's wrong? Nothing's wrong exactly. We just need a small favor. Her tone shifted to that syrupy sweet register that always preceded a financial request. The mortgage payment is due next week and your father's hours got cut again. I pressed my fingers against my temples.
Mom.
I just paid your mortgage 3 months ago. You promised that was the last time. But darling, we're family. Family helps each other. Besides, you're doing so well with your business. What's a few $1,200 to you? A few $1,200, just like the few $1,200 last month for Isabella's car repairs, and the few $1,200 before that for Dad's medical bills, and the countless other few thousands that had drained my savings account over the years. I can't keep doing this. I said, my voice barely above a whisper. What was that? I said I can't. Oh, before I forget, she interrupted. Isabella needs new furniture for her apartment. Nothing fancy, just a living room set. I told her you'd help. The pen I'd been holding snapped in my hand, blue ink spreading across my fingers like a bruise. You told her what? Well, she saw that lovely leather sofa in your office, and I mentioned you'd probably be happy to help her get something similar. She's your sister after all. I stared at the sofa in question, a piece I'd saved for months to buy, a symbol of my hard work. Now my mother wanted to turn it into yet another obligation. No, the word escaped before I could stop it. Excuse me, I said. No, Mom, I can't keep doing this. I'm not an ATM. Silence crackled over the line when she spoke again. Her voice had that dangerous edge. I remembered from childhood, after everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us, by being selfish. I laughed, but it came out more like a sob. I've given you over $55,000 in the past year alone. I've postponed buying a house, delayed starting a family, put my entire life on hold to support everyone else's needs. How is that selfish? We're your family, she was shouting. Now family takes care of each other. When has anyone taken care of me? The words hung in the air, heavy with years of unspoken resentment. When's the last time anyone asked how I was doing, if I needed help, if I was happy? Oh, so now you're not happy with your fancy office and your expensive furniture. Some people would be grateful for such success. Grateful. I stood up, pacing my office. I built this business from nothing. While you and Dad were giving Isabella money for her third attempt at college, I was working 3 jobs and living on ramen noodles to make this happen. And now you act like my success is somehow yours to distribute. How dare you? No, Mom, how dare you? I'm done. No more money. No more guilt trips, no more treating me like a walking checkbook. You'll regret this, she hissed, when your father and I are out on the street, when your sister can't pay her bills. You'll regret being so heartless. I looked at my ink-stained hands, at the broken pen on my desk, at all the symbols of success that had become chains around my neck. The only thing I regret is not saying no sooner. The line went dead. My phone immediately lit up with text messages from Isabella. How could you do this to Mom? You're so selfish. I thought I could count on you. I blocked both their numbers, my hands shaking, but my mind clearer than it had been in years. Then I called my best friend Rain. Hey, I said when she answered. Remember how you said I needed to set boundaries? I think I just blew up all of them at once. Her warm laugh filled the line. Girl, it's about time. Want to grab coffee and talk about it? For the first time in years. I felt like I could breathe. Yes, yes. I really do. You should have seen her face. When I finally said no, I said, stirring my latte while Rain listened intently across the table. It was like I'd committed some cardinal sin, the sin of standing up for yourself. Rain snorted, "How dare you?" The cafe buzzed with afternoon activity, but in our corner booth, I felt safe enough to let my guard down. Rain had been my rock since law school, where we'd bonded over instant noodles and impossible deadlines. "They're blowing up my email,"
Now.
I said, showing her my phone. "Mom sent 6 messages about how I'm destroying the family, and Isabella's threatening to tell everyone what a horrible sister I am. Let them." Rain leaned forward, her attorney face on. "You know what this is? This is extinction burst behavior. When people lose their source of benefits, they escalate dramatically." Before giving up, my phone pinged again. This time it was my father. "Safai, please call your mother. She's very upset. We really need your help this month." Rain watched as my hands started shaking. "Give me that," she said, snatching the phone. "We're setting up boundaries right now." "What are you doing writing an email?" "Listen to this, dear Mom and Dad. I love you, but I will no longer be providing financial support. My previous assistance was given freely, but it has become unhealthy for all of us. I'm happy to maintain a relationship based on mutual respect and love, but money is off the table."
Love.
"Safai, I can't send that," I protested weakly. "Watch me." She hit send before I could stop her there. "Now, let's work on your sister." The cafe door chimed, and I froze. Isabella stormed in, her face red with anger. Of course, she'd know where to find me. I'd mentioned this cafe in our family group chat last week. "How could you?" she demanded, drawing stares from nearby tables. Mom's crying her eyes out. I started to shrink into my seat, but Rain's foot nudged mine under the table. "Stand tall, her eyes," said Isabella. I said, keeping my voice steady, "This isn't the place." "No, this is exactly the place. You sit here in your designer clothes, drinking your fancy coffee, while our parents struggle." "What kind of daughter are you?" Rain started to stand, but I touched her arm. "I've got this." I faced my sister, channeling the confidence I used in business meetings. "I'm the kind of daughter who's tired of being taken advantage of, the kind who's given everything she could until there was nothing left. The kind who's finally learning to say no. But the furniture, buy your own furniture, Isabella, get a job, take out a loan. Do whatever adults do when they need money. I did it, you can too." Her face crumpled. "But I can't. My credit shot, and no one's hiring in my field." "That's not my problem anymore." The words felt foreign in my mouth, but right. "I love you, but I'm not responsible for your life choices." "Fine," she spat. "But don't come crying to us when you're all alone with nothing but your money to keep you company." As she stormed out, an elderly woman at the next table caught my eye. "Good for you, dear," she said softly. "I wish I'd had your courage with my own family years ago." My phone buzzed again, Mom. This time the message was different. "How dare you send such a cold email? After all, we've sacrificed for you. Your father and I went without so many times to give you opportunities. And this is how you repay us, by abandoning us when we need you most. You're no daughter of mine." Rain read over my shoulder and whistled low. "Wow." She went nuclear fast. "They did make sacrifices for me." I admitted, guilt creeping in. Maybe I should stop right there. Rain grabbed my hands. "Yes, they made sacrifices. That's what parents are supposed to do. But you've more than repaid any debt. And now they're using those past sacrifices as weapons. It's emotional blackmail, pure and simple." I feel like I'm going to throw up. That's normal. Setting boundaries is hard, but you know it's harder living the rest of your life. As everyone's personal ATM, my phone lit up with another message, this time from Dad. "Your mother's blood pressure is through the roof. If anything happens to her, it'll be your fault." Something inside me hardened. "You're right," I told Rain, turning off my phone. "I'm done being manipulated. They want to play hardball, fine. Let's see how they manage without their cash cow. That's my girl." Rain raised her coffee cup to boundaries and backbone. I clanked my cup against hers, ignoring the trembling in my hands, to freedom. Little did I know this was just the beginning of the storm. Your numbers are impressive, Sophia, but you're playing it too safe. Leaned back in his chair, tapping his pen against my business proposal. You've got the potential to be a major player in this market, not just another boutique consulting firm. I'd sought Alton's mentorship after realizing how much my family drama had held me back professionally as one of the city's most respected business consultants. His advice was worth its weight in gold. What do you suggest? I asked, trying to ignore another call from an unknown number, probably my mother, using someone else's phone again. Expansion, strategic partnerships. You've built a solid foundation, but it's time to build the empire. He slid a business card across the desk. Start by meeting with Piper Hopkins. She's looking for partners in the tech sector. I nearly choked on my water. Piper Hopkins. She's my biggest competitor exactly, and she's either going to be your greatest ally or your worst nightmare. Choose which you prefer. Before I could respond, my office door burst open. Isabella stormed in mascara, streaking her cheeks, therefore closing on the house. She sobbed, Mom and Dad are going to be homeless, and it's all your fault. Raised an eyebrow, but said nothing. I took a deep breath, remembering Raylan's advice about maintaining boundaries. This is a private business meeting, Isabella. You need to leave. No, not until you fix this. You have the money. We all know you do. I stood up, my voice steady despite my racing heart. Security. Please escort my sister out. You heartless bitch. She lunged forward, but the security guard caught her arm. You'll regret this. Mom was right. Money has changed you after she was gone. Whistled low, family business. Something like that. I straightened my jacket, trying to regain my composure. I'm sorry you had to see that.
Don't be.
I've seen worse, but this is exactly why you need to think bigger. He tapped the business card. Call Piper today. 3 hours later, I sat across from Piper Hopkins in her sleek downtown office. She was younger than I expected. Maybe early 40s. With a sharp gaze that seemed to cut right through men. Speaks highly of you, she said. Not bothering with small talk. Says you've got untapped potential. I'm not convinced. Excuse me. Your firm is successful, sure. But you're playing small, safe, like someone who's afraid to take real risks. She pulled up my company's financials on her tablet, or someone who's been dumping their profits into a black hole. My face burned. My financial decisions are none of your business. They are. If we're going to be partners, she leaned forward. Let me be clear. I don't care about your family drama. I care about business. And right now you're letting personal issues hold you back from something extraordinary. You don't know anything about me. I know you've been supporting your entire family for years. I know you've turned down major opportunities because you couldn't commit the capital. And I know you're finally ready to change all that. She smiled. Am I wrong? I stared at her, speechless. Here's my offer, she continued. We merge our consulting divisions. You head the combined operation. We expand into 3 new markets within 18 months. No more playing safe. No more holding back. And if I say no, then I'll acquire your biggest clients one by one until your firm is nothing but a footnote in my company's history. She shrugged. Your choice. My phone buzzed again. Another email from Mom, probably with more guilt and accusations. Without looking at it, I deleted it. When do we start? I asked. Piper's smile widened. Now that's more like it. She pulled out a contract. But first, let's talk numbers. The figures she proposed made my head spin. This wasn't just an opportunity. It was a chance to build something massive, something that would put me so far beyond my family's financial demands that they'd never be able to touch me again. One condition, I said, surprising myself with my boldness. I want complete autonomy over my division. No interference, no matter what personal drama might surface. Piper laughed. Deal. Welcome to the big leagues, Sophie. As I signed the contract, my phone lit up with a text from Dad. Your mother's in the hospital. Stress-induced panic attack. Hope you're happy with yourself. I turned the phone face down without responding. For the first time in my life, I was choosing my future over their manipulation. Ready to shake things up? Piper asked, extending her hand. I took it firmly, more than ready. The game was changing, and this time I was playing to win. The merger announcement made headlines in the local business press. I was reviewing the coverage when my office door slammed open, making me jump. So this is why you abandoned us. Mom stood in the doorway brandishing a newspaper. You were too busy making deals with our competitors. I pressed the security button under my desk. How did you get past reception? I told them I was your mother, which I am, though you seem to have forgotten that. She threw the newspaper on my desk, millions in new funding, and you can't spare a dime for your own family. Ma'am, my security guard appeared at the door. You need to leave. Don't you dare? Mom's voice rose to a shriek. I carried you for 9 months. I sacrificed everything for you, and now you're having me thrown out like garbage. Mrs. Owens, the guard, stepped forward. Please don't make this difficult. You're killing me. Safai, she clutched her chest dramatically. The stress, the shame, do you want me to die? Is that what you want? I kept my voice steady. What I want is for you to leave now. As security escorted her out, her wails echoed down the hallway. My own daughter, my flesh and blood. I was still shaking when Piper walked in minutes later. Interesting show in the lobby. She said dryly, I'm so sorry. Don't apologize, just handle it. We can't have family drama, disrupting business. After she left, my phone rang. Isabella. Before you start, I said, answering, I'm not discussing moms in the emergency room again. She cut in real this time, not just dramatics. Dad's with her. They're running tests. My stomach dropped. What kind of tests? Cardiac. The doctor says stress is literally killing her. Are you happy now? That's not fair? You know. What's not fair? I lost my job last week. The startup I was working for went under. I can't make rent. Mom and Dad are losing their house, and you're out there making millions with some fancy merger. I pinched the bridge of my nose. Your financial problems are not my responsibility. No, then, whose are they? Mom and Dad spent their retirement fund, putting me through college. They remortgaged their house to help you start your business. That was their choice. And now you're choosing to let them suffer. She was crying. Now Mom might be dying, and you're sitting in your fancy office pretending we don't exist. I'm not pretending anything. I'm setting boundaries. Boundaries? She laughed bitterly. Is that what your rich friends call abandoning family? What happened to you? Sophia, you used to care about someone besides yourself. The words stung more than I wanted to admit. I still care, but I can't keep enabling. Save it for your therapist. Just know that if anything happens to Mom, it's on you. The line went dead. I sat there staring at my phone until Rayan's call jolted me back to reality. Your sister's posting about you on Facebook, she said, without preamble. It's getting ugly. I pulled up the post on my computer. There it was, complete with old family photos. My sister made millions today, while our mother lies in the hospital. Money truly changes. People remember this post when she tries to pretend she's self-made. She built her success on our family sacrifices and then abandoned us when we needed her most. The comments were worse. Old family friends expressing shock and disappointment, relatives I hadn't seen in years calling me heartless, even some business contacts weighing in with concerned messages. It's a manipulation tactic, Rain said. Firmly, they're trying to shame you into compliance. But what if they're right? What if I am being selfish? Stop. Remember why you started this? Remember the panic attacks, the sleepless nights, the constant anxiety about their next financial emergency. You're not being selfish, you're being healthy. My office door opened again. This time it was Dad, looking older than I'd ever seen him. Rain, I'll call you back, I said. Hanging up, he stood there, hands in his pockets, shoulders slumped. Your mother's asking for you. Dad, I know you're done with the financial support, but she's still your mother. Safai, and she's scared. I looked at the family photo on my desk taken years ago, before money became the only language we spoke to each other in. I can't go back to how things were. Nobody's asking you to. He sighed heavily. But is this really how you want things to end, with security guards and Facebook posts and hospital visits? The question hung in the air between us, heavy with decades of complicated family history. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed with a message from Piper, meeting with major investors. Tomorrow, family drama better be resolved. By then, I looked at my father's tired face, at the newspaper announcing my success, at the angry Facebook posts. Something had to give. But what your mother's spreading rumors that you embezzled money from the family. Rain said, pacing my office. 3 clients called me asking if it's true. I looked up from the investor presentation I was reviewing.
She's what?
Check your email. Someone forwarded me a message she sent to your entire extended family. It's creative. The email made my blood run. Cold Mom had crafted an elaborate story about how I'd supposedly stolen Dad's inheritance money to start my business, complete with fake details about promised repayments and broken agreements. This is insane. I muttered there was never any inheritance. Dad's parents died broke. She's desperate. Rain said, and desperate people tell desperate lies. My phone lit up with Piper's name. Speaking of desperate, I answered the call.
Hey.
Piper cared to explain why I'm getting calls about financial fraud. Her voice was arctic. This merger is hanging by a thread. Sophia, it's not true. My mother, I don't care who's behind it. Fix it today. She hung up. I pressed my forehead against the cool glass of my office window, watching the city bustle below. What am I supposed to do? Sue my own mother for defamation. If necessary, Rain said. But first we need to get ahead of this story. A knock at my door interrupted us. Entered looking grim. I assume you've seen the emails, he said about the fictional inheritance theft. Yeah, I'm handling it. Know about your sister's GoFundMe page. My stomach dropped her. When he pulled up the page on his tablet, there it was, help save our family home. My millionaire sister won't, complete with childhood photos and a detailed account of how I'd abandoned our parents in their time of need. It's gone viral in the local business community, said. People are starting to ask questions about your character. This is ridiculous. I stood up, anger finally overtaking shock. They're trying to destroy everything I've built because I won't be their personal bank anymore. Actually, Rain said slowly, this might be exactly what we need. What do you mean? You've been trying to handle this privately, and they're using that silence to control the narrative. Maybe it's time to tell your side of the story. Nodded. She's right, the investor meeting tomorrow. Turn it into a press conference. Announce your new charitable foundation. My What Your Foundation, the one you're going to create to help families develop financial literacy and independence. Show the world you're not against helping family. You're against enabling destructive patterns. I stared at them both. That's actually brilliant. It gets better. Rain added. We invite your family to the announcement. Let them try their dramatics in front of the press. See how that plays out. My phone buzzed with another message from Isabella, the GoFund. Me's at $15,000. People deserve to know what kind of person you really are. Something hardened in my chest. Do it. Set up the press conference and make sure every local news outlet gets an invitation. The next 36 hours were a blur of preparation. By morning, the foundation paperwork was filed, the press release was drafted, and the conference room was ready. I stood at the podium watching as reporters filed in, and then I saw them.
Mom.
Dad, and Isabella slipping into the back row. Mom had clearly dressed for sympathy, wearing her church clothes and clutching a handkerchief. Ready. Piper appeared at my elbow. Born ready. I stepped up to the microphone, my voice steady. Thank you all for coming today. I'm announcing the creation of the Financial Freedom Foundation, dedicated to breaking the cycles of family financial dependence that trap so many in patterns of enabling and abuse. Mom's face went pale. This cause is deeply personal to me. I continued for years. I watched my own success become a weapon used against me by those closest to me. I've been emotionally blackmailed, publicly slandered, and accused of theft, all for setting healthy boundaries. Reporters had swiveled toward my family, but this isn't about revenge. It's about breaking cycles. The foundation will provide education, counseling, and support for families struggling with financial codependence, because sometimes the most loving thing we can do is say no. Isabella stood up, but Dad pulled her back down. Questions. I asked. A reporter raised his hand. Is it true? Your family started a GoFundMe claiming you abandoned them. I smiled. Why don't you ask them? They're sitting right there? All cameras turned to my family. Mom's face crumpled as reporters swarmed toward them. Well played. Piper whispered. The investors are impressed. I watched as my family fled the room, pursued by journalists. This isn't about impressing investors anymore. This is about taking back my story, and for the first time since this all began, I felt truly powerful. The press conference video has over 1 million views. Raylan announced setting her laptop on my desk and the comments. People are sharing their own stories of financial abuse. You've started a movement. I was about to respond when my office phone rang. The receptionist's voice was tense. "MZ Sophia, your father's here," he says. "It's urgent." I glanced at Rain, who nodded encouragingly. "Send him up." Dad looked defeated as he entered, nothing like the intimidating figure of my childhood. "We need to talk about the GoFundMe, or about Mom's inheritance lies." He sank into a chair. "Your mother, she's not well. Sophia. The doctors say her blood pressure's through the roof. She's talking about selling her wedding ring to pay bills. That's manipulation, and you know it." Maybe he rubbed his face, but the foreclosure notice is real. "We have 30 days, and you came here expecting I don't know anymore." He looked around my office, taking in the success he'd never achieved. "Your mother's always handled the money. I just worked and handed over my paycheck, never questioned anything that stops." Now I said firmly, "I'm done enabling, but I will help you help yourself." "What does that mean?" I pulled out a folder. I'd prepared for exactly this conversation. The Foundation's first initiative: financial counseling, job placement assistance, debt management programs. But it comes with conditions such as: Mom has to attend therapy. You both need financial literacy classes, and the emotional manipulation stops completely. He stared at the folder. She'll never agree. Then you have a choice to make Dad stay trapped in her financial chaos, or take control of your own life. His hands trembled as he reached for the folder, and Isabella's same offer applies, but the money games end. Now your mother will see this as a betrayal. No, Dad, the betrayal was teaching me that love means emptying my bank account on demand. He stood slowly. "I'll think about it." After he left, Rylan squeezed my shoulder. "You okay?" Before I could answer, my phone buzzed with a text from Isabella. "Dad told us about your offer. You're really going to make our parents jump through hoops for help. You've changed." I typed back, "Yes, I have. I'm no longer financing anyone's bad decisions. The offer stands if you want real change." Her response was quick. "Keep your charity. We don't need your condescending help. They'll come around." Rylan said, reading over my shoulder. "Maybe, but I'm done waiting for their approval." My phone rang again. "Piper. This time, the charity gala's confirmed. For next month, every major player in the industry will be there. Your family drama better not overshadow it." "It won't," I promised. "In fact, I'm sending them invitations." "Are you insane?"
Trust me. They need to see what they're up against.
After hanging up, I drafted the invitations formal, professional, leaving no room for misinterpretation. "You are cordially invited to the Financial Freedom Foundation's inaugural gala." "You're playing with fire," Rain warned. "No, I'm taking control of the narrative. They want to make this public, fine.
Let's see how."
Their victim story plays in front of 300 business leaders. The responses came within hours from Mom. "How dare you flaunt your wealth while we're losing everything? You'll regret this public humiliation," from Isabella. "Count me in. Can't wait to show everyone who you really are," from Dad. "Is the offer in the folder still open?" I forwarded Dad's message to my foundation's counselor, then turned to Rain. "Want to help me pick out a gala address? Something that screams successful and unbothered girl." "I thought you'd never ask." As we headed out, I received one final text from Mom. "You think you've won? Wait until the gala. If you want to play hardball, we can play hardball." "Should we be worried?" Rain asked. I thought about the security measures already in place. The press invited, the live stream plan, no. For the first time, I'm not afraid of their threats because you're stronger, because I finally realized something. Their power only worked when I gave them my fear. And I'm not afraid anymore. My phone buzzed with another message from Dad. "I've signed up for the financial literacy class. Don't tell your mother." I smiled. Maybe there was hope after all, just not in the way I'd always imagined. The gala was 3 weeks away. Let them plot and scheme. This time I'd be ready. The gala ballroom sparkled with success and influence. I stood at the entrance greeting guests in my midnight blue gown, feeling powerful and prepared. Security guards were strategically positioned, and cameras live-streamed the event to thousands of online viewers. Quite a turnout. Piper said, appearing beside me, "The governor just arrived. Any sign of my family? Your father's already inside." Alone, she raised an eyebrow. Should we be worried about the others? Before I could answer, a commotion erupted at the entrance. Mom burst in, wearing her oldest church dress. Isabella, right behind her. There she is, Mom's voice carried across the ballroom. My millionaire daughter, who wants to teach us about money while we lose our home. Heads turned, phones came out exactly as I'd expected. I approached them calmly, aware of all the cameras. Mom, Isabella. Welcome, your table is this way? Don't you dare act polite now. Mom's voice rose higher. Not after you humiliated us in the press. Mrs. Owens, one of the security guards, stepped forward. Please lower your voice, or what you'll throw me out like my daughter threw us out of her life. I noticed Dad watching from across the room, looking pained, but staying put. Good. The counseling was working. Mom, I said quietly, you have 3 choices: join the event respectfully, or leave. There's no third option. Isabella pulled out her phone, clearly ready to record whatever came next. Go ahead. Mom, show everyone who she really is, who I really am. I turned to address the crowd of business leaders and journalists. Let me tell you who I really am. I'm someone who gave over $55,000 to my family last year alone, who paid mortgages, car payments, and credit card bills while postponing my own life goals. Mom's face reddened. How dare you? I'm someone. I continued, my voice steady, who finally realized that true love doesn't mean enabling destructive patterns. That's why this foundation exists. To help break the cycles of financial abuse that tear families apart. Liar. Mom reached into her purse and pulled out a stack of papers. I have proof of everything you stole from us. Security moved forward, but I held up my hand. Let her speak. Everyone should hear this. Mom waved the papers triumphantly. Bank statements showing how she took your father's inheritance, the inheritance that never existed. Dad's voice cut through the tension. He walked over, standing beside me. Slate, stop. There was no inheritance. You know that, Charles, don't you dare? I'm done lying, he said firmly. I'm done watching you manipulate our daughter. I'm done enabling you myself. The room was silent except for the click of cameras. The foundation helped me see the truth. Dad continued, I've started counseling, taken financial classes for the first time in 40 years. I have my own bank account. Mom's hands shook. Traitor. You've turned against me too. No, Mom, I said softly. He's turned toward health, like I did. Like you can too. Health. Isabella scoffed. Is that what you call abandoning your family? This foundation offers real help. I gestured around the room. Counseling, education, job training, everything you need to build financial independence, but you have to want to change. Change. Mom's voice turned vicious. You want change? How's this for change? She turned to the crowd. My daughter slept her way to the top. Security finally stepped in, gently, but firmly escorting her toward the exit. Isabella followed, still filming, but her face showed the first traces of doubt. As they left, Piper touched my arm. That couldn't have gone better. If we'd scripted it, she was right. Every moment had been captured, every lie exposed, every offer of real help documented. The foundation's message couldn't have been clearer. Dad stayed by my side as I returned to hosting duties. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I should have stood up to her years ago. You're standing up now. That's what matters. My phone buzzed with a text from Isabella. Mom's crying in the car. Maybe you could send me information about those job training programs. Another buzz, this time from Mom. You'll regret this public humiliation. Mark my words. I showed the messages to Dad. Progress. With one at least. Your mother will never change, he said sadly, but I'm done enabling her, and I'm proud of you, sweetheart, for being stronger than I ever was. The rest of the evening passed in a blur of speeches, donations, and networking, but the real victory wasn't in the money raised or the connections made. It was in finally being free. As I took the stage for my closing speech, I saw Dad in the audience, sitting tall, looking hopeful. Behind him, through the windows, I caught a glimpse of Mom and Isabella still in the parking lot. The choice was theirs now, just like it had been mine. The autumn breeze rustled through the courtyard as I unlocked the door to the Foundation's new community center. The morning sun cast long shadows across the freshly painted walls and newly installed computers. "Looking good in here," Rain said, following me inside. "Hard to believe this used to be your old office building." Steamed fitting turned the place where I enabled dependency into a space for teaching independence. My phone buzzed a text from Isabella. "Finished the job training program. Got 3 interviews next week." "Thanks, she's really doing it." I showed Rain the message. "That's the 3rd program she's completed, and your mother." Before I could answer, the front door chimed. Dad walked in, looking healthier than I'd seen him in years, ready for the group session. He'd become one of our most effective counselors, sharing his journey from financial enabling to independence. His divorce from Mom was almost final, and he'd moved into his own apartment for the first time in his life. "How's Mom taking the divorce?" I asked. As we walked to the meeting room, "About as well as you'd expect. Still claims I abandoned her," he sighed, "but I'm not backing down." This time, the meeting room was already filling up with people seeking help. I recognized the same desperate look I used to see in the mirror. People trapped in cycles of enabling, afraid to break free. "Welcome, everyone," Dad began. "Today we're talking about setting boundaries without guilt." The door burst open. Mom stood there, clutching her designer handbag, the last expensive thing I'd bought her. "So this is where you've all been hiding," she said, her voice bitter, "having little meetings about what a terrible mother I am."
Mom.
"This is a private session," I said firmly. "You're welcome to schedule your own counseling appointment." "Counseling? I don't need counseling. I need my family back." She turned to the group.
"Do you know what she did?"
"She abandoned us when we needed her most, and now she's poisoned my husband and daughter against me too." One of the participants, an elderly woman, stood up.
"Ma'am,
"I used to be like you. Blamed my children for not supporting me. Called them selfish for having boundaries. Want to know where it got me alone? Until this foundation helped me understand that love isn't about money." Mom's face crumpled. "But they're all I have." "No, Mom," I said gently. "We're not all you have. You have yourself. You have choices. You can choose to get help, to learn independence, to build real relationships, not based on financial control." "I don't know how," she whispered. And for the first time in my life, I heard real vulnerability in her voice. "That's why we're here." Dad stepped forward, not to judge or blame, but to help break the cycle. "The cycle you created." She snapped, but the words lacked their usual venom. "Yes," he agreed. "The cycle I helped create and maintain, but it stops." Now I pulled out a folder, the same one I'd offered months ago. "The offer still stands. Mom, real help, real change, but you have to want it." She stared at the folder for a long moment. The room was silent, everyone watching this moment of truth. Finally, she reached for it with trembling hands.
I
don't know if I can change." "That's okay," the elderly woman said kindly. "None of us thought we could either, but we're here to support you." Mom sank into an empty chair, clutching the folder like a lifeline. Can I stay for the session?" I caught Dad's eye. He nodded. "Of course," I said. "That's why we're here." As Dad resumed the session, my phone buzzed with a message from Piper. "Mergers, complete empires built, ready for Phase 3. I looked around the room at Dad, sharing his story, at Mom, actually listening for once at all. The other families working to break free from toxic financial patterns. I typed back, "Already started. This is bigger than business now." Another text came in, this time from Isabella. "Got the job first. Real paycheck in years. Never knew independence could feel this good." I smiled, remembering my own journey to this moment, the fear, the guilt, the liberation, and finally the peace of knowing I'd broken free. Mom caught my eye across the room for the first time in forever. She didn't look angry or demanding. She looked
lost.
But maybe that was the first step, being lost before finding a new way forward. I sat down next to her as Dad continued speaking. She didn't say anything, but she didn't pull away either. It wasn't a fairy to lily ending. Some cycles take generations to truly break, But it was a beginning, a real one built on truth instead of manipulation, strength instead of enabling. And for now that was. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories that inspire, move, and remind us all of the beauty in life's unexpected moments. Hit the notification bell so you never miss another heartwarming tale. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.